My name's Michael Madison. I'm a business major. I've, I'm taking the Business 101 class, and I've learned quite a bit so far, like how to be an entrepreneur, start your own business, uh, and the risk involved with doing it, trying to get the loans, trying to just pretty much everything's all on you when you start your own business and become an entrepreneur. I've been watching my uh, brother-in-law, Chris Villa. He has a PhD in human factor psychology. He's the CEO of Vesca, which they he's been working on user customer based design of products and processes. And I've seen how hard it is to start a business right there. It's not just you become an entrepreneur, get your LLC, and then you're freaking making money. You have to put the time in, and you hope with all the risk that you took that it's gonna have a lot of profit in the end. Another thing I've One thing I've liked about this actually is the TED Talks, and a lot of them speakers are pretty motivative. Some uh, they get you pretty amped up about going and doing things. That's for sure. One of the TED Talks that I did was a guy that made an app for picking up trash. So he brought something like trash and made it into art. So people wanted to take a picture of the trash, and then they'd pick it up and throw it away after they're done. But not only did it make it to where people wanted to take a picture of it, just as kind of like an artistic, they're like just an artistic piece, but it was cleaning up the world. He got them from China, got them from all over the place. And being an entrepreneur, there's pretty much, we haven't invented everything. So you could, if you can find your niche, you can go off and go do anything you want to, pretty much as an entrepreneur. One thing you have to remember though is being ethical because uh, say you're being ethical, uh, going you still have to come home every night, and the decisions you make, they're gonna follow you forever. So you have to remember that the decisions you're making, that's gonna affect your community, your friends, your family, everything. So you might as well make the good decisions. Make sure that they're gonna benefit the community. And it's like the former company I worked for. They donated lots of money to YMCA's. They tried to plant a tree in every park. They tried to do what they could with the community, with donations and all that, and that's great. Uh, if I became an entrepreneur, I would try to do the same thing. Like say, have a day to where you uh, go help out elderly people rake their leaves. Be perfect. Um, with management and leadership, uh, I learned about planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. Uh, you have to keep your employees motivated. If if you're a manager, that's one thing. I know that you manage and you set schedules and watch and uh, tell people what to do and everything. But I think a leader is better because your employee is going to want to work harder to help benefit you and the the business instead of just going to work and then coming home. They're going to go in there and they're going to have a goal in mind and they're going to go through it. And I think they'll turn out to have a lot better work. Like I had a boss, and so my boss pretty much he didn't motivate you at all. You didn't even want to come into work, but the boss above him, if you talk to him, he'd motivate you. You wanted to come into work, so you wanted to do good for him. but you wouldn't want to do good for the boss that was actually above me. So what I'm saying really is you don't really quit jobs, you more quit your boss. So you need to have good bosses. Um, uh, with How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Uh, with Roosevelt, you need to uh, like he used to set up and study his guests before they would show up the next day, so he'd know their interests. So not only is he being a gentleman, but he's making it to where the other person's going to be a lot more comfortable and interested in what's going on, and he makes them feel important that way too, in that regard. And uh, like say Mr. Rogers, for example, too. He's one person I remember that always tried to make people feel important and special. Uh, when dealing with people, trying to convince them to say yes, ask questions that you know the reply is going to be yes. Like say you're out of bananas. Tell them, yes, we have bananas today, or yes, we have no bananas today, but we have apples. Just put a positive spin on something, turn something that's negative into something positive, and offer positive alternatives. More than likely, they're probably going to get the alternative from you. Uh, be aware of what people want. Like, talk about health and food. People love food, it's delicious. Uh, talk about their kids. Just show interest in the person. Don't just act like they're not human, you know? Uh, Gosh, what else? There's a um, what else is there? There's a lot of labor laws and stuff that have went into effect that we're reading about that benefit everybody. Minimum wage. It's nice to have a minimum wage so you don't get underpaid for what you're doing. Uh, there's gosh, what all? There's so say in the in Meridian here, there's 71% new re like there's 71% of Meridian right now is new construction. So that means that there is a huge influx in people here. So the economy here is going to be going up just because of the increase of people. Well, Meridian has been city number one city to move to for a couple years, last 2 years, and uh, property values around here have skyrocketed. Um, so in say my community, a business, if I'm gonna have a business here, it's gonna affect my kids, and I want my kids in the next generation for any business I do create. I want it to be something that they're proud of and that they're gonna want to continue on with. And uh, I'd like to one day make it to where I can have a park bench with my name on it. That's a goal that I have in mind for me being an entrepreneur is if I could have a park bench with my name on it, uh, that would right there that every time somebody sat in it, they'd think uh, about like who's this guy? Like say Andrew Carnegie, Carnegie Hall. Uh, every time people go in there, they talk about it. They mention his name, because it's like what Macklemore said. Uh, you die twice. Once when you get buried in the ground, and once when the last person mentions your name. So uh, I'd like to have my name on a park bench because then my name's going to be mentioned down the road, even when I'm gone. So I would like to try to create a business to where I could one day get a park bench.